I just really think you need to put in the time with everything, and it's just like patience. Everything, if you keep putting in the hard work and have patience, you can get there. It doesn't just happen overnight. It's a major thing, is you have to believe in yourself, to wake up every day and keep doing what you're set out there to achieve.
Welcome to the M26 FIT Podcast, where we explore the connection between having a strong mind and a strong body.
Today's special guest is Gina Venzin, entrepreneur, businesswoman from the Venzin Group. Welcome to the podcast, Gina.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
All right. To start us off, what's the Venzin Group? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so Venzin Group is my last name, and we're a hospitality family. So my brother's involved, my father and me, and my mum dabbles in the things. So we are a group, even though we kind of run our businesses differently and separately. We are one group of restaurants
within the Venzin Group.
Yes.
So Venzin, that sounds like a good Aussie name, bit like Magnus.
Yes.
So what's the history?
So my dad is from Switzerland, from the Italian side, so Swiss Italian, literally near Lake Como. Last time I was in Switzerland, I went there and I saw all the little Venzins living in little kind of country neighbourhoods. So it's very like that over there. Yeah.
Sounds gorgeous.
Very cool. It's very cool.
And so were you born in Australia?
Born in Australia. My dad was moved here, I think, when he was about 20. Yep. Came over on the White Australia policy. They paid him to come here.
Yep.
And then my mum was born in Melbourne. So their dad came straight to Melbourne.
Okay. So you were born in Melbourne?
Melbourne, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the way we came over here was exactly the same. The Australian government paid for us to come over back when they were looking for migrants in the mid-70s.
Isn't that crazy? It's like they got, come here, here's money to move on a boat.
Absolutely crazy. So where did it all start? How did your journey as a young entrepreneur in the cafe industry begin, and what was the inspiration behind it?
So Dad was an engineer based in Thailand, and he was going to Thailand a lot, and us as a family, and he had a bit of a midlife crisis where he had enough, and he started a Thai cooking school from home. So and also selling curry paste at the markets. So we would go New Farm markets, the Cleveland markets, and I would go with him all the time as his little assistant. And then he got into the restaurant industry, and I grew up working, my first job with him. And I went and worked for other people as well, but grew up working in the industry, and I went to university and did a degree in business, tourism and events, because my dream, I always had the hospo thing in me of, I guess, service. My goal was to move to New York and do event management, and my dad made me a very good offer after I finished my degree. I went traveling for 6 months. I was ready to go to New York, and he said, stay here, come work in the family business. And then me and him started flipping cafes together.
So where was his first restaurant? Was that a restaurant or a cafe?
A restaurant. So he's more restaurants, which is Mon's Thai in Camp Hill, which we still have now. So we've had that for more than 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's where it all started. So how old were you when you moved to Brisbane?
I was 5 when I moved to Brisbane, and I was 13 and a half when I started working there. So that's why we know so many people of our customers. They've kind of seen me and my brother grow up, and we've seen them have children and the children grow up, because we've been doing this for so long. So it is really nice in the Southside community anyway, where all our businesses are based. It's really that nice community feel where we've seen that kind of change in generations with everyone.
Yeah. So how many businesses do you have?
I have 4 now.
Wow.
Yes. So there's 6 in the family. I have 4, and there was a period there where me and my dad had 7, and in the last year, I promised myself no more, so I had a year off, but I did 13 venues in about 11 years.
So buying and selling
and just flipping, and just like the adrenaline of going in and doing a new one and opening it up, and then, okay, it's running, sell it, let's do it again. It was really an addiction of the adrenaline that you kind of get from it, so very high stress for a long time.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah. But I was so used to it, I didn't even know. So that's why last year it was a year off to kind of calm my nervous system.
Yeah. So where are the 4 that you have? Where are they located?
So Wollongabba, Balimba, Morningside and Wellington Point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all kind of on the south side apart from
All
that one out
south
east.
side.
Yeah.
Yes, we've done north side before. We've done Kedron, we've done Jindalee, but now we're kind of just sticking to the south side for lifestyle purposes.
Awesome. Now, can you share some key strategies that contributed to your success and how do they align with your values?
So my values is really, be kind and caring, which, can be tough sometimes in a leadership position because you have to make hard decisions and let people go. So I actually struggle, and I think a lot of people do struggle with the firing process or when people aren't meeting KPIs. But that is important for me, and I probably lead too much in kindness sometimes when it is at the end we've got to have a bottom line. My brother would say differently because he thinks I'm really, really tough. And strategies, did you say the question was strategies for that?
Yes, yeah.
I think hard work is something that a lot of people have forgotten about now, but it really is fundamental, at least in my industry. So it has only been, I started heavily when I was 21. I'm 34 next week. So the first 10 years was me really slaving, doing the hours on the floor, like open to close, cleaning, then going home and doing the extra stuff. Now I'm very fortunate that I'm 10 years in. It's getting easier where I have the lifestyle choice that I can pull back and lead from, not work in the business.
Work on the business.
On the business.
That's it.
Which also came from age, I think, and maturity. But I just really think you need to put in the time with everything, and it's just like patience. Everything, if you keep putting in the hard work and have patience, you can get there. It doesn't just happen overnight.
So basically you've been in the industry 20 years almost.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy when you think about it.
Time for a career change, I think.
And then there's that balance with that kindness, obviously, because the way that you may treat a unperforming staff member is probably a little bit different to how you treat a customer that might not be happy.
Yes. Yeah, and, I always, as I've had more years of experience with the customer thing, the customer is not always right, and my kindness is I actually defend my staff a lot of the time to find out, what happened. Because I hear a lot of, there's some of the tough owners in my industry that someone will get a 1-star review and they, will be very tough on the employee, but I'm very quick to talk to them and find out what happened, because customers don't actually understand how our industry works, so they can take things the wrong way and, give bad reviews. So I'm always supportive of the team first. And then, of course, our customers as well, because they're amazing, and that's why we do what we do. We get to serve and make people happy. So it's a combination of knowing, where to spread your kindness, I guess.
Yeah, something else that you've gotten from experience by the sound of it.
Yes, definitely. That is another thing with age and experience and time is learning how to handle all those things.
Yeah. What were some of the major challenges that you faced in growing your businesses?
I think from when I was young and I was doing it with my dad at the time, he used to travel a lot and leave me alone. So that taught me, a lot of things of leadership, and it made me grow up very quickly. Most recently I had a romantic partner that I've brought into the business, and then we separated, and that was really, really hard. So since then, and how I've outgrown my dad as well, I've said no more business partners ever, which I might, but I'm very, that's a big lesson that I've learned to tell people to really be, conscious of that decision, because your best friend and you working together or your partner is a lot, things change when business become involved. So that's been a huge lesson. Cash flow. Don't spend the money in the bank, because you need to keep that, because things will break down and you need to reinvest to grow. And I also learnt a lot about the finances when I became an independent owner. I kind of was delegating that to my partner at the time, and my dad handled things. So that was a big, big lesson for me when I kind of had to learn to do everything, and it's made my businesses better as well.
What about COVID? How was that experience for you?
So it was super, super stressful. Obviously, we're so lucky to be in Queensland for that because we were blessed compared to the rest of the country. The first 3 months was very daunting because we had to kind of, all the staff, you know, when JobKeeper came out, we didn't know the rules yet, and staff were coming up to us saying, do we get it? And things were changing so quickly, we didn't know if we were eligible. So before that, we had to let a lot of staff go. We had to close certain businesses at certain times. We had to adapt very quickly. We were very lucky that we were very online ordering before COVID, so we had that all set up. But every day was like opening up a new business. So that was such a big, you had to jump and move, especially when things reopened again. We could serve 10 people, and then suddenly the news was like, you can serve 20 people tomorrow. So then it was like calling your team in and blah, blah, blah. So COVID was scary, thinking, you know, what am I going to do with my life? But then things pivoting so quickly. But we actually opened Davella and Melrose, a restaurant, during COVID. So we kind of went, if we're going to be stuck here, borders closed for the next however long, let's just work hard and make the most out of this. So we kind of changed all our businesses as well to be more COVID friendly at the same time, to have, you know, takeaway, online ordering, all the different options. So if it's a rainy day and how things happen, we can kind of have something for that.
Yeah, I was just trying to envisage that level of pivoting. That was obviously a bit of the buzzword at the time with COVID, but at the same time, I could just envisage, like you said, from one day you're doubling the amount of customers, and all of a sudden you've had to let staff go and get them back again.
And things like Pawpaw Cafe in Wollongabba, we never took bookings before COVID. So when they went from 10 guests at a time, we had to then have a booking system. So when the news was you can have 10 people, we didn't have a booking system then. Luckily, we had other restaurants, so it was quick for us to adapt. But other hospitality establishments didn't have that, or the contact. So it was like, boom, set up booking system, design the booking system to seat 10. The news that night, tomorrow you can sit 20, you'd have to go change it. So it wasn't like a normal job we could go home and relax. It was, you have to be watching the news because what is happening every day, like it's going to change. And it was very, you know, your nervous system.
Yep. Very dramatic.
But if you can get through that, and my separation was far worse, if you can get through that, you can get through anything.
Are there any particular menu items that you could highlight for us that your customers rave about? You know, what are you famous for? Anything in particular that's super popular?
So Pawpaw Cafe, we have the signature hash dish, which is pretty much potato hash, halloumi, hummus, and a few other things, which has been on the menu for 8 years straight, and we can't take it off. We also have a massaman curry, which we have at Mon's, Pawpaw Asian Kitchen, and Pawpaw Wollongabba, which is a slow-cooked beef dish, which is amazing. Strawberry pancakes at Citron, which come from the farm, the strawberries from the local farm. And, of course, Davella, our croissants are just amazing because we're made with a lot of butter, so they're extra tasty.
Getting hungry just listening to you. And I have to mention, like Pawpaw at Wollongabba, that's my little go-to cafe, and the cold brew coffee there is amazing. That's
What do you like about it?
It's just, well, I generally am iced coffee, but having is it frozen?
Yeah, it's a frozen ice cube of cold brew.
Yeah, whatever that is. But it is just amazing. Some guys put me onto that and absolutely love it. So congratulations.
I like it. Thank you.
Curious, how do you balance the demands of running multiple successful cafes with maintaining your commitment for personal health and fitness?
So that's another thing that I learned over time, obviously. But now it's about making time for myself. So I think because my job is so social, I'm with people all day, every day, so much staff, customers, I'm very protective of my alone. Well, I need alone time.
Yes.
So my free time. So I don't, you know, I guess it's the thing when you learn to say no, which also comes with age or experience or whatnot, but learning to say no, not going to all the social events, having time for myself, knowing gym is priority for me on set days, and then more social life on the weekends, making sure, you know, I go to an ice bath or a sauna or have a massage and do those extra little things for myself, which make me feel recharged better than I would drinking or something like that. And everyone is different. So if drinking is your thing, going for a drink, do that. If it's going to, you know, eat the cake, if it's going for a run, whatever it is, just making sure you do like what's important to you to like recharge you. And that's like more important now so that you can handle the stressful situations.
So ice bath, how long have you been doing that for?
I've been doing that for probably 2 years now. So I'm in with the trends of everything and I absolutely love it.
Yeah. What do you find it does for you?
Like if you're having an anxious, stress day, it shocks you out of that. I think it's obviously the breathing aspect of it. It's which is good. So that really helped me through stressful times. But now it really is actually calms me. So it really, when I'm in there now, because I have been training to do it, because you have to train to do it, it's about really calming my mind and being able to like close my mind off while I'm in there and not have all the kind of panic thoughts, which I think you can then take into any stressful situation. Yeah. What about you though? Because you've been ice bathing.
I have been, but I'm only I think 7 days into it, and not a proper ice bath. It's been.
So you've only started a week ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Properly, I've done a few intermittently, but
Yeah.
regularly it's been 7 days for me,
Yeah.
and not a proper ice bath. I think it's a cold plunge.
Yeah.
10 degrees, and I managed to get in the 5-degree one last week, but
Yeah.
didn't last that long in there. But yeah, working my way up to it.
It's worth it. The first time I did it, I was in Bali. It's a gym called Bodyworks. I'm not sure if you heard of it,
No.
but it's like a super Bali gym, and then there's a sauna, and then there's 3 ice baths, and you sauna the warmer one to get colder. And I did that. I did the whole cycle, and I thought I was on a euphoric experience when I was done. So it's very rewarding once you train to do it.
I find it very therapeutic. So does Wim Hof, is that where
Yeah.
the breathing comes into it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I don't like follow everything religiously, but I've I've listened to his podcast, I've watched documentaries on him, all that kind of thing that's happening, because I just feel if you can have all those positive feels from, being healthy, and these things don't cost any money. Obviously the membership to get to an ice bath, but you can go do one at home.
Yes.
And if you can kind of create that feeling naturally yourself, it's the best.
Yeah, euphoric. I love it.
Yes.
A memorable story for us, if you could share a positive, game-changing moment in your life.
I think it would have been actually the kind of COVID opening up Davella and Melrose experience, because previously before that we were flipping businesses and kind of taking, rundown places and doing like a budget, as you would do a flip. Davella and Melrose, my first 2 venues where we had like a full designer, we built them from scratch, we spent too much money, something I learnt from, but they were like, when we did that, and they were, we had really great, I have the most amazing head chef at Davella, Lindsay, and she's worked at amazing places around the world. And Melrose, I had Artie, who was the head chef of Long Green in Melbourne. He came up, so that was a big career point for me to have really, well-known institutions here in Brisbane that we were kind of making our mark, that like we can do this and we're kind of leaders in the industry, and had also really great head chefs and owners from other establishments come through the venues at that time. So that made me feel like I know what I'm doing.
What an awesome story, and it's pretty gutsy effort, like right through the middle of that super tough time where people, obviously there's a lot of businesses were closing down and you're opening them, and by the sound of it you got some pretty good staff working for you as well. Yeah,
it was amazing. I mean, Lindsay we hired, so that started at Pawpaw. Pawpaw was a dine-in venue, so we were dead, and we did a pop-up bakery one weekend, and it got a lot of traction, did really well. So I said, hey, let's do this over COVID. So I put up an ad just for a casual chef to come make everything in-house for the interim of COVID, and Lindsay applied. And she loved the job she was at before, and she said, I'm just doing this during the COVID. And I said, that's great. This is just get us through COVID. And then she started doing that, and her product was amazing, and I loved working with her. I was like, let's go open up, a bakery, which is a patisserie is what we have. And then with Artie, so we found the place to do Davella in Bulimba, and it was a whole new site. And we looked at it and said, let's do a rooftop venue in there. We were just, crazy at the time. And Artie, I actually sent a bunch of really great chefs just DMs on Instagram, because they were in Melbourne in COVID, and I just said, hey, we're doing this. Would you like to chat further? and he was one that we spoke to, and he actually moved up with, 4 other chefs from Longrain, and they all made the move up here. So it was also like a sliding doors moment of the opportunities that we had living here, and also taking the opportunities at the same time. So
because Melbourne obviously suffered from a lot more close downs than what Brisbane did.
Yeah.
So what a great move.
Yes. Yep. Much better. I mean, he doesn't like the hot, surprisingly, but it's much better lifestyle up here.
Yeah. So as a young entrepreneur, is there any advice you'd give to others looking to chase their passion and start a business?
Patience. I always say it's not what you know, it's who you know. So like network and like learn from everyone and listen to everyone and the experience that they have. And obviously you just got to take the risk and put yourself out there and believe in yourself. That's a major thing, is you have to believe in yourself to wake up every day and keep doing what you're set out there to achieve. And then on that journey, be patient, because it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah. It always seems to take a lot longer than what you think, doesn't it?
Way longer. Now it feels like, if I look back, it feels like it's gone really fast, but it felt really long and hard, and I can go through, visions of crying, stress, I wasn't exercising and have this lifestyle like I do now, not eating so well, all these things that you do when you're stressed and overworked and tired. So it does take time, and you just have to learn from everything and just always learn, and even if it's setback, move forward again and keep pivoting back forward, back forward, back forward. I'm still doing that now all the time, It's constantly learning.
Perseverance.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang in there and keep following the dream.
Yeah, yeah.
You touched on this before. How do you stay innovative, and do you have an example of how that innovation has contributed to your success?
Yes. So, Pawpaw Cafe, I think, was one of the first cafes on Instagram. Me and my brother were talking about this yesterday. Back when, and it probably was 10 years ago now, all the fashion houses were on Instagram using influencers. Other businesses were on Instagram, but we started using influencers. And I saw the fashion stores using them, and I was like, why can't we get them through to make our food as fashion? So I started DMing influencers and getting them in, and then, regramming. And this is old technique now, but we were one of the first at the time. And that was very, that got us on the map of this place is the hot place to be. And things to do. So I think, Instagram and now TikTok, I'm not so much on it, but, whatever it is a good place for you to be researching. I get a lot of inspiration from around the world, even if I haven't been, to see what's happening is trending. I find traveling is very important if you can afford it. Go somewhere, and whatever your industry is, take time to, for me, dine in restaurants. I'm very lucky, it's fun. If you're in fitness, go try the gyms in the countries that you're in. So I think, is that even on top of the question? What's innovation?
Yes, I think so. I think it's very much so. Like by travelling around the world and obviously looking, and you see, what's trending over in other parts of the world can have a huge impact. When did you start with the influencers? What year was that? Do you recall? I
would have been probably 24, 25, 9, 10 years ago now.
Okay, yeah, so a long time ago.
Yeah, so that grew our presence really, really quickly, and now all the algorithm and everything's changed. So now TikTok is killing it, but I'm getting older, so I don't understand it. So I have to have the young girls trying to explain that to me, but I was at the time of Instagram, so I was very fortunate then to be able to use that to my advantage.
All right, now on to your team. What do you do for team building with your staff, and how important is it for you to maintain their mental and physical wellness?
Obviously, the culture is the most important thing, because we are a group of people and we're serving people. So we have to be happy, friendly, and obviously every day we're not. Everyone has their issues going on. So it's trying to be the best culture for everyone. We've done lots of different team bonding experiences over the years. We've gone to a bounce workout, an ice bath breathwork session, a yoga session, a PT session, game rooms, kind of fun things. Even if sometimes it's just a walk around Kangaroo Point, any kind of activity to get everyone working, spending time together and laughing is a great way to have them bond. And it's very important to, obviously I share as much as I learn on the health journey with them. We've even had a psychologist out one time and did, an open talk night for them to be able to ask questions. And pretty much, our industry, we don't have the budget so much as like the big corporations would have, which I would love, the Googles and all that. But it's about, giving back as much as you can to keep everyone's, health and wellness good, because then they perform in your business. So I think that's a very important thing to have as part of your business plan and strategy.
I think that's awesome. Love the cold bars making another appearance with the staff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think, and as well, what it's like on the first time. They don't like that.
No.
It's really, really tough the first time.
bit of peer pressure and a bit of challenge environment.
Yeah, exactly. And Ice Bath is good for the group work activity, because then everyone eggs you on and encourages and says you can do it, and so that's fun for bonding as well.
Excellent. Love it. Has there been a standout significant event in your life that's impacted your mental health, and how and what got you through it?
In a positive way was last year I went and did the Camino from Portugal to Spain with my dad.
Oh, that's on my bucket list.
It's amazing. You have to do it. So I did 10 days. I need to get some water. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
So much talking.
So the Camino, so 10 days, because that I think the full one, is that 3 weeks or 4 weeks?
The full one is about 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah, there's lots of different ones, but the full one is about 3 months. So we did 200 Ks in 10 days, and everyone can do their own pace. So you could do 10 days, more or less, and there's different level of accommodation. So the traditional way is the pilgrimage, staying in the hostel style in the churches and having pilgrim meals. So all along the way, there's places where you can have that, and you have the pilgrim meals. We did one level up from that, where we stayed in like accommodation, had our bags delivered to each place, so I didn't have to carry everything. Apologies. Next time I'll do the harder one. But even walking, so we did a couple of training sessions before we left, walking that far, and you think, yeah, I'm fit. But actually when you get over there and you're on the different, one day it's walking up mountains, one day was on sand for a period of time, and also just walking for 8 to 10 hours a day is time in your head, is just something unlike doing a workout here. So it was super challenging. And I went because I wanted to heal some things in my mind. So I just said it was deep therapy for 10 days straight. And the first 4 days were so hard. I had blisters. I was in so much pain. My head was just like, when's this going to be done? When this going to be done? When this going to be done? I wasn't, the first 2 days I wasn't measuring my distance, which I then started doing later to help break it down for me. But the moral of the story of that is it was super hard at the beginning. Day 5, which was halfway, I was like, wow, my feet don't hurt. And the wine got better because we started in Portugal, and you couldn't drink much because you had to be up and working. But the wine in Portugal was like berry juice, and then we got into Spain on day 5 and the wine got better. So day 7, 8, it was like the walking was easier, the food got better, the company got better. We made friends, which we'd met on day 1 and reconnected on day 5. And by the end, I didn't want to stop walking. I could have done another 10 days. So it was a big moral of the story thing of life is hard and challenging, but if you keep pushing through the hard, you with your ice bath, you'll get there. It does get easier, and then it gets so rewarding. So now I can reflect on that in any hard experience. I just say, I'm having a Camino moment, or this was like on the Camino, and it's just one of those things.
Isn't that amazing? I heard recently it's like when you set off to do any challenge or any goal, it's like a rocket. You use most of the fuel when you're taking off.
Yeah.
So doing that hard work and that resistance, like you said in the beginning, and it sounds like it's the same story as you with the cafes, like very difficult to begin with, and then as you keep persevering, keep pushing through, then there's that light at the end of the tunnel. And
yeah, it's absolutely, and you can really take that into anything, I feel, any life challenge or goal. If you want to train for a marathon, it's going to be really hard to run at the beginning, and then you train, it gets easier. All those things, fitness, business, life, relationship, friendship. I've even been putting in boundaries with my family of late, and it has been really challenging because we're used to being so on top of each other, and I've had to be like no and hard, and now it's actually flourishing that it's actually worked out and it's really rewarding and we have a much better relationship.
What a great story.
Thank you.
Now, are you much of a goal setter, Gina, and what does 2024 and beyond look like for you?
So I haven't done my goals yet, but I have cleared my whiteboard from 2023.
It's a good start.
I have them in my head, but I like to take time to really make sure this is what it is. I've had a lot of, last year was have the year off of opening new venues, but obviously I still was running the ones that I had. I really want to be this year more work-life balance in regards to I want to travel more. I traveled a lot when I was younger, but having, more, brick businesses that are there, you have to feel like you have to be around. So I definitely want to travel more, take time off, have those adventures, get recharged and inspired again so that, next year I can go again and have more time with my friends and family, which I also didn't have a lot of the first 10 years of being so busy working all the time. So that's the year for travel and, dancing and laughing and smelling the flowers, in the springtime and all that kind of stuff.
Make up for a bit of lost time.
Exactly.
And I agree with your mentality. I'm actually heading away in a week or two, and I plan to do my goal setting then. Just
Where
let that
going?
whole off to Canada.
Cool.
So yeah, looking forward to a bit of cold weather to get away from this
That'd be so
Brisbane
nice.
heat. So yeah, very, very pumped about that.
Do you ski or snowboard?
I ski.
Yep, we're a skiing family as well. Yeah.
I think that's obviously with a Swiss background.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I was never much of a skateboarder, so yeah, I'll stick to the two.
The two, yep. Yeah, I really want to go. My dad's going back, I think, March to Switzerland to go skiing, and me in my spontaneous way, I might jump on the plane and join, see how we go.
You should.
Yes.
It's never a regret. It's always whenever we take any vacation, even though financially you can think, should we do this or
Yeah.
And I never ever regret a trip overseas.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why I want to, spend some of the money that I've made on myself rather than on the business.
That's right. Well, you're the most important person.
Yes, exactly.
So, right, quick fire question time. You ready?
Okay.
Go-to exercise when you're stressed.
Running. It's amazing.
What's the one thing you're working on to improve about yourself?
My running, but that's physical. Improving is probably my patience with my family.
Healthy snack you enjoy?
Carrot and guac, avocado, and Wheat Bix.
What about a top workout routine for building a stronger body?
Weight training, which I've just rediscovered again, and having a really good gym buddy to push you hard, combined with sauna ice bath.
Morning or evening workout preference?
I'm trying so hard to be a morning person, but I am just an afternoon person.
The best advice you've ever received?
Slow and steady wins the race.
A motivational quote that keeps you inspired?
Ooh. I had this and then I forgot.
We can come back to
We
it.
can come back to that one.
What do you struggle with?
Getting up in the morning on my early alarm. I think I've had an alarm on for 6 a.m. for 10 years.
What comes naturally to you?
Being friendly.
The most used app on your phone?
Does text messaging count?
Yes.
Yes. Phone calls freak me out. I'm a texter.
Best cafe menu item for someone looking to refuel after a workout?
Like maybe a rice and a Buddha bowl kind of style thing with, a bit of protein, a bit of rice and a bit of veggies.
Your favourite form of stress relief outside of fitness?
Ooh. Massage? Is that in that category?
That can count. I think a wellness habit that you practice daily.
Meditation before bed.
Tea or coffee, and how do you like it prepared?
Coffee for sure, and I drink a piccolo.
Next travel destination?
Ooh. I love hot places, so, and I go to Bali a lot, but I need to go somewhere else. So if you think Southeast Asia, but I really want to go to Europe our winter for their summer.
So do you have a quick morning ritual that sets a positive tone for the day?
It's very important for me to get up and have my piccolo coffee with time. I don't like to rush it, so I go to sit at one of our cafes and I drink my piccolo slowly over like 15 minutes, and then I get going after that.
Favourite workout music?
Well, I'm into like deep house club music, so I use SoundCloud. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
I have like long, hard DJ sets that I can like rave to.
That's awesome. Love it. One guilty pleasure you enjoy in moderation?
Chocolate.
Okay, last question. Question 26. Finish this question. I believe.
In happiness.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Gina. It's been an absolute pleasure. I know how busy you are. I wished you the best of luck in the future, and I might see you next time I'm down at Pawpaw enjoying one of those famous cold brews.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, if you've enjoyed this episode, we have a small favour to ask. Please take a moment to subscribe, review, and share this podcast with someone you think will appreciate it. Your support helps us reach more listeners, and we can continue delivering content that educate, inspires, and empowers you. Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay in the loop with all our latest news. 2024 is going to be a huge year, and we'll continue running our weekly Friday morning kayaking sessions on the beautiful Brisbane River, along with plenty more thrilling adventures, exciting activities and challenges are planned. We'd love for you to join us and be part of our growing community. Remember, success is all about consistency. And by investing 26 minutes exercising both your mind and your body every day, you too can become the strongest, fittest and healthiest version of you. So stay tuned and stay active.